one of the things that's been happening, of course, is they're trying to get a picture together of all of the leaders. Have a look at this. This is where they were trying to corral the leaders for a picture, but they couldn't find Joe Biden.
They're telling Biden, they're telling him to wait for Biden, guys. Oh my God. Do you see him, Joe? Far left. Left to the left of the palm tree. Oh my God. But they took it. Joe, he's behind the palm tree right now.
I don't see it.
Trudeau and Malone.
E ele não vai cumprimentar, não?
There he is, shortly after ordering some weapons to be sent to Ukraine so that they could be fired into Russia. He's behind the palm tree. I mean, goodness me. Let's talk to Rear Admiral Chris Parry, former NATO commander. Chris, very good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I mean, we live in ever dangerous times, as you know. Joe Biden there doesn't look like he knows where he is. It's just slightly worrying, given what he's just done. I know that that's me being slightly disingenuous, but it is worrying. I mean, in The Sun today, we've got the US blocking the firing of UK missiles into Russia, while at the same time saying that they can fire American weapons. So what's that all about?
Well, I mean, firstly, I don't think Joe Biden's been in charge for the last 4 years, so these decisions are not being made by him.
Right.
And that's the deception that has been practiced by the Democrats. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
So you've got the United States saying, look, we've got control over these ATACMS that go about 180 miles. We also control the systems that actually guide them to their targets. They're the same systems that Storm Shadow would use if they were used.
Right.
I think what Keir Starmer has said is that the Ukrainians can pick their targets. I think the Americans want to exercise some control over those targets to make sure the Ukrainians don't hit targets that obviously will provoke world opinion.
Right. So, I mean, are you worried about this being an escalation that could get worse? I mean, we were hearing contradictory kind of analysis on this, because a lot of people say, well, you know, people have called out various different acts that have been committed by Ukraine and possibly helped by the West in the past, which have been supposedly going to cause World War III, but they've never come to that. Putin doesn't like really retaliating too much, because at the end of the day, he doesn't want World War III.
No, he doesn't. And what we've been doing throughout the Ukraine war is self-deterring based on the huffing and puffing we've seen from the Kremlin. If we provided these resources earlier, Ukraine wouldn't be in a fairly parlous situation that it is right now. You've got a situation in the Donetsk and Luhansk region where the Russians are advancing steadily, to tell you the truth. And Ukraine is just about hanging on for winter, I think. I think they'd like a bit more snow. The fact of life is that with Trump coming into the White House in January, the whole chess pieces will move on the board, and we're going to see a totally different sort of approach. I don't think the Americans under Trump are going to stop the arms supplies to Ukraine. I think, there's been a lot of huffing and puffing from the Trump camp. We can't afford to let Russia be seen to win. But I have to say, I've been forecasting most of the year that we'd see negotiations in the winter. I think there is going to be a trade of land for peace. But how we guarantee Ukraine's security after that to prevent further Russian aggression is something that is going to exercise the best minds.
No, of course. I was just talking to Ian Duncan-Smith there about Keir Starmer cozying up to China as well, and he was pointing out that, you know, aside from the fact that they use slave labour, aside from the fact that they are world dominators in sort of overtaking entire continents and mining all of their minerals, they're also in alliance with Russia. And so what do you make of Keir Starmer kind of cozying up to them?
Well, I mean, you can do all you like in terms of talk. What I want to see is some concrete actions to combat this axis of autocracy, which is China, Russia, Iran and North Korea. They're basically training together. They're swapping armed forces. They are, you know, giving each other weapons. I mean, give you an example. North Korea, sponsored by China, is supplying all the 122 and 155 millimeter rounds to Russia right now. You've got North Korean troops, Asian troops in Europe for the first time since the Mongol hordes. So, you know, this is an axis of autocracy. We know from the past that China can't be trusted. They lie. and they just want their own advantage here.
Right.
The government thinks it's going to cozy up to China at the expense of our relationship with our other allies in the US. Then that tells you something fundamental about how seriously this government takes security.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? It doesn't exactly bode well for us, I'm afraid. Rear Admiral Chris Parry, thank you very much indeed, former NATO commander there, also with some very, very warning words about China and about Keir Starmer getting too close to them.